Well,
Okay, well, I'm going to come now. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us today at the Bell Reform Town Hall meeting. It's a tragedy what's going on here in New Jersey, and we feel really obligated to come here and try to help these folks, not just the bail agents of this state, but also the people who are being impacted by what's going on with pretrial release. There's a lot of people who are putting in an enormous amount of effort, and we have a couple of videos that we want to show you, and we want to really bring you up to speed on what's going on here, so that when people speak, you know who they are, you know what their story is, and you know why they're here. I want to acknowledge a lot of people who make this happen. You know, your pastor is amazing. He really is. And I'll tell you, I was a Mennonite. How many of you know what a Mennonite is? Like 6 people. Okay, so you empathize with me, right? All right. So I was raised very strict, very stern upbringing, very strict. In a church basically didn't believe in dancing or cutting your hair or, you know, very odd things. Just one slat short of Amish. We actually had TV, they didn't. So that was almost the only difference. Very strict upbringing, but because I had that base upbringing, I was always able to return to center. No matter how mad I was, no matter how bad I got, no matter what drug I did, no matter how drunk I got, no matter what crime I committed, no matter what car I joyrided. And I could go on. Because when you put his criminal record up next to mine, like, looks like Bonnie and Clyde. It's no wonder they won't let us into London. We have to apply separately. But because I had the Christian base, I always knew right from wrong. I knew what was right, I knew what was wrong. And I knew when I was being wrong. And so even sometimes when I sat in jail, and my mom wouldn't bail me out on a $50 bond, $50 is all she needed to pay to get me out. She wasn't going to do it. She just wasn't going to do it. But I turned out. Okay, and I had a very tumultuous love-hate relationship with my mother, because I thought, what kind of a woman just wouldn't even bail me out for $50? I was just like, that's just, you know, BS. And so I had very hateful feelings for her for a very long time, but it wasn't until after I got into this business and really started serving not just the Lord, but the whole community, and feeling responsible for my clients and their families, and talking to the moms and dads who would call me up at 9 o'clock at night and say, my kid is high on dope, and what am I going to do about it? Can you have dog call him? Can you come out and scare him? Can you come chase him around a little bit so that he'll get freaked out and know that we mean business? They had that right to call me. They had the right to call me. And I still do that on a day-to-day basis. My business in Hawaii is still the same. This bail reform has not touched me there yet. But the wave comes in and the wave goes out, as Mike just taught me earlier. The wave is starting here in New Jersey, and it's starting to create a tsunami effect across the country. Two things that come to mind for me. One, you have sort of the everyday urban criminal who is the menace or nuisance to your society. The guy who steals your identity out of your trash can. The guy who graffitis the church. The person who continually robs from the store or shoplifts because he doesn't have any other upbringing to teach him not to do that. Those folks are being returned to your streets on a day-to-day basis, almost instantaneously, like a revolving criminal welfare door. And then you have people who are arrested for some minor crime, but they have 75 crimes that they didn't get caught for that were really bad. They hurt people. They hurt people. And they're being returned to your streets every day, every minute of every second here in New Jersey on a day-to-day basis. They have taken out the doors at the jail and they installed a revolving door because the guy goes in and he comes back out. And the guy goes in and he comes right back out, sometimes in the same day. Because there's no common sense rules or parameters placed on what's going on with pretrial release. How many times is sufficient? Just let us know. Can a guy fail to appear in court 3 times? 5 times? 8 times? 10 times? How many times? How many times would you say is reasonable before we start saying, okay, that's enough. You just aren't coming back. You're just not going to do it. And guys that have been arrested for carrying a gun or having weapons on them, or being known drug dealers, or being people that do bad things, those guys, even if they change their life, they ain't going to get bond here ever again. Anybody that has gone to jail before knows it is a sudden jolt to your system. It is a wake-up call to most people. And the everyday guy, the everyday thug, that isn't going to commit crime every single day, he just did it for a little bit, went in, got his dose of jail, and came out a new man. Because that wasn't their lifestyle. But what pretrial is doing now is they are taking over our role as parents. And they're making the decisions as to when our children will and will not be disciplined. And they're going to tell me now when my child can come out of the corner. Well, that didn't work out so well for my daughter Barbara, who, as many of you know, died on Dwayne and I's wedding day in a car accident. But she had repeatedly come to us and said, Dad, I lost my glasses, I need $300. And he would send it. And then she'd call him up, Dad, I lost my glasses, I need $300 more. Now, most parents in here who have addicted children or children who have dabbled, or you yourselves have dabbled, you know what that $300 buys. $30 buys it here. $30. Your kids can come and BS you out of $20 any day of the week, and we all know it. But sometimes you have to recognize that it's not the $20 they need, it's something else that they're conning you into getting. And once they con you into that, and you give it to them over and over again. And I said to my hubby one day, why don't we take our team up to Alaska and do a massive intervention on our Barbara Katie? And let's stop her from doing what she's doing and let's bring her back. And he said, oh no, she would hate me. She'd never forgive me. Just like when she would go to jail, he would get her out immediately. Because the jailers would call her Barbara. Because she was bawling all the time. You gonna come get Barbara? No, we're not. She's gonna sit there a little bit. And we'd have to let them sit there a little bit. People think that we leave our kids in jail because they're poor. We're not leaving them in jail because they're poor. We're leaving them in jail because they're running amok. They're running amok, and we're trying to save their life. And we, their parents, know better than pretrial release. And we know when our kid or our child is acting bad, but we also know when they're trying to get clean. And we know when they're trying to make it. When they've done bad things in the past, but they're not bad now. See, bail agents all across this country are very well versed in this because we deal with your children on a day-to-day basis. And not just your children. Sometimes yourselves. And your parents. But that is the nature of life. People make mistakes. We're all strugglers in the Lord. We all want to be perfect like Jesus, but there was only one Jesus. The rest of us are not perfect. We're all strugglers. But we still have to have accountability. And if there is no accountability in our communities, we cannot expect our children to grow up accountable. If we don't make them responsible, they will not be that. And they will not teach their children to be responsible. So we as a community have to tell our lawmakers, you made a big mistake. A huge mistake. There are people here today, my friends, Vincent Osby and Miss June, whose child was a victim of a terrible crime committed by someone who was on a pretrial release bond. Someone who had been released before. Someone who had been arrested several times with gun charges. But because someone at pretrial determined that they were okay, their child is now dead. People, we have to tell our lawmakers what to do. It is our state house. We the people, for the people, and by the people. We elect you. You don't tell us, we tell you. You will stay in those seats at the legislature for as long as we say, not for as long as you say. Because you can only vote against us, the people, for so long. And when you do things that are contrary to what the people want, you yourself will be out.
That's right.
But I want to go even further than that. How many of these lawmakers have you seen on a day-to-day basis getting DUI? Being arrested? Our good friend here, Michelle Eskenazi, she runs New York. She's got a big problem up there. Mayor de Blasio, his freaky little assistant, is up there looking at 3,400 pieces of porn.
Wow.
And he gets 6-month-old babies to 14-year-old babies. This is a very sick individual. But this person was released on a personal recognizance bond, $7,000. Funny money, dumb money. They just let him go. So it seems to me more so that these laws are made for us. These laws aren't made for them. These are laws that they themselves cannot even abide by themselves. DUI, pimping and pandering, prostitution, all of those things have become legal under these bail reform laws. Heroin in the school zone. In California, these crazy nuts, they passed a place to shoot heroin bill. Now they gave you a place that you can go legally to shoot dope. So instead of fixing these problems, we have made these problems far, far worse. Far, far worse. And I think that it's a misunderstanding when Governor Christie comes out and blames the bail agents and goes, oh, these are just bondsmen, they don't like it. We don't like it because we know. We're out here every day. We're watching everything that's going on. We see it through our crystal eyes. We're right here. We're right in front of it. We are able to stand up here before you today and tell you what's going to happen because we know. This is what we do. If the pipes broke in my house, I wouldn't want the bail bondsman to come tell me how to fix my pipe. It would probably involve duct tape or something of the kind. I want a professional. I want somebody who deals with these people on a day-to-day basis. Are they ready with the videos? Which one? His? There's no dog there. There's a dog. You want? Okay. So, what I want to just begin to talk about with you is that Dog's going to come up and he's going to speak a little bit, and then we want to open it up to question and answering. We also want to hear from June and Vincent. And also, most of you here in New Jersey, how many of you know who is Weed Man?
Oh, I know well.
So you know Weed Man is being held right now on a minor crime. without bail.
That's him.
And he has also been on a hunger strike for 2 weeks.
That's his mother.
So we want to hear from his wife, and we want to hear from his family, because he's being denied his civil rights, his 8th Amendment right. And I think that we have to hear from some of these folks in the community, and then we want to take your questions, and we want to hear from you how it's affected you, or what we can do to help you, or anything that you want to talk to us about. So myself, Michelle Esquenazi, could you stand up please, Michelle? She is the New York State Bail Bonds Association president, who has made it her business to be up here in this business. Because as you know, the wave is coming. And we have to get proactive about it. And we need a good, strong core of people who are willing to stand up, be heard, make your voices heard, and tell our legislators that this isn't what we want. And they need to go back to the drawing board, and they need to figure this out, because this isn't working out. So right now I'm going to turn it over to my hubby. And I'm not going to give him some big all introduction, because he gets that at night before he comes to bed. That's the business of a married couple. You get to have that. Yeah, whatever. The king of TMI over here. So we're going to roll a short video about Big Daddy, and then he's going to take the stage, and then we're going to hear from some of the others. We're going to hear from Michelle and Lead Man's old lady. And then we're going to hear from Vincent and from June, okay? And then we'll open it up for some questions. If you have questions for Mike Donovan, or for Pastor Dorian, or for any of us, we'll be here available to do that with you, okay?
Okay.
And I do want to pay homage to my very special friend, Bridget Lee Hunt. She's here. She and her son Elijah, they came up all the way from Lewisberry, Pennsylvania. They're part of my social media group that really helped me on a day-to-day basis to get the news out and to spread the word and to share articles and to share videos and to share things with the community, because as you know, the fake news is real. Isn't that funny? Fake news is real. It is. And so we have to rely on each other to really inform each other and inform our communities about what's happening in our world. So we're going to go ahead and see this clip, and then I'll let y'all hear from Big Daddy for a while, and then we'll open it up to you folks. Thanks.